Hey, what is up, and welcome back to yet another video. This one, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through some of the steps. If you're on the Olympus Altus Life server, some of the steps for recording. When you submit a player report or a compensation type form, you want to go ahead and make sure you have some sort of proof, and the best way to have proof is video proof. So I'm going to go through a couple different programs that will help you kind of set this up. One I think works a little bit better, but is dependent on your video card. Excuse me, and so I'll go through the steps on each of them to kind of give you a better idea. The first way is if you have an NVIDIA card. I cannot go through ATI specifically on their software, as I do not use ATI cards, but if you do have an NVIDIA card, most of them support this. Most of the newer ones at least, and you'll be able to get this set up. It works really nice. Shadowplay has a feature in it which basically allows you to set up a hotkey, and when you press it, it will actually save the video from the last 1 minute up to 20 minutes. You can adjust that to your liking, and if you only want a minute, you can have it save at a minute. You can change the quality options, the screen sizing, that kind of thing, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. But it works really nice because you aren't constantly having to do a recording like Fraps or something similar like that, where you always have to have it recording. This allows you to just hit that button and it'll take the last however many minutes you have set up and record that for you, and that's all that it records. So it doesn't clutter your hard drive, it doesn't waste your space. It also is fairly decent on resources, so you should not notice much of a change in frame rate or anything. So excuse me. Alright, as you can see here, I'm at the GeForce site. You want to go to the GeForce experience. Here you can see I've got the requirements page up, but if you go to geforce.com/GeForce space or dash experience, I'll also try to put this link in the description below for the video on YouTube, so you can go directly to it. This is where you're going to go ahead and get your GeForce experience. If you have an NVIDIA card, you should already have this, so it shouldn't be much more of a step for you, but I just want to show you where you can go ahead and get it. And you can kind of go through the different like the supported games, requirements. It does have a lot of games that it supports, so Arma works nice, at least so far for me. It is listed here. You want to make sure you're running in a full screen mode, or under the GeForce settings, have it set up to desktop if you're running like a windowed full screen. Otherwise it won't be able to record it. So oh wow, I forgive me, please. Must have drank too much last night. So this is where you're going to go ahead and get it. It's the GeForce experience. If you already have it, it will most likely be down in your toolbar, and it'll be somewhere in here, and it should look like this: NVIDIA GeForce experience. You'll have the GeForce experience control panel, check for updates, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. That'll kind of give you your control panel for it. When you do open it up, you're going to go ahead and you'll have your games listed here. Some of them, not all of them, most of them. Drivers, my rig, preferences. Preferences is where you're going to want to go. And then you got the Shadowplay here. You also have a Shadowplay button up here, and I'll go ahead and open that so you kind of have an idea. But hopefully it is recording at the moment. It should be. You will have some different overlay options here. Your camera is if in case you have a webcam, you can have that on or off, and you can decide if it's a small, medium, or large, and you can decide what corner it's going to appear in. You cannot adjust it like you can on XSplit or OBS or something like that, or video software. It's just kind of a set place in one of the corners depending on what you prefer. The status indicator is the same thing. You will have a choice of where you can put it, and it can sit up in the corners, on the bottom corners, and it gives you, I do not believe you'll be able to see it, but you can see a little circle, and when you're recording you'll get a dot or a green in the middle of it. That'll show that it's actually functioning. You do have a FPS counter as well, which you can set in any of the corners to give you an idea what your FPS is going at. You then also have your microphone settings, so you can have it always on. like I do at the moment for my recording, and you can have it set to push to talk. Once you've gone through and set them, below hand keyboard shortcuts, these are what allow you to do your different recordings and whatnot. Now me, I have F10 set as my save shadow recording, so it's gonna, every time I hit F10, it's gonna record the last 5 minutes of play for me. That's where I have it set up. Like I said before, you can go from 1 minute up to 20 minutes for just the shadow play part. I have it set for 5. F10 is my key. F9 is if you want to do a manual recording. Let's say you actually want to record 2 hours worth of shit. That would be your hotkey. Mine is F9. I believe default is F10, F9, or default is Alt F10 for shadow and Alt F9 for manual recording. And you just hit the keys to turn them on and off. The broadcasting is for if you want to do a Twitch type streaming. Pause resume is, of course, you can pause your recording. Your camera, hotkey to turn the camera on and off. The activate push to talk, you can adjust these by just simply clicking on them. Right now I have it set as control. I believe default is comma. And you can toggle your FPS as well. You then kind of go ahead and go down. You're under recording save location. This is where your videos will all save at, so make sure to pick a folder you know where it is. Has plenty of space on that drive for it. And the temp files you don't need to really mess with. That is just where it kind of keeps a temp file. And it automatically kind of deletes it, recycles it as needed. So once you have this up and set, you will go ahead and you'll click on the shadow play button up here like I did earlier. You will get this small little page that pops up. The little switch on the left hand side over here will actually turn it on and off. It's like an amplifier almost of sorts, and it will turn the whole shadow play system on or off. And then you have your modes. You have your shadow and manual, which I'm currently in. You have just manual mode. You have just shadow play mode, and you can pick through each of them. And I think I've already described how them are working. You know, shadow play is 5, 10, 15, whatever you have. Manual mode is continuous. Then you have shadow time, and what you do is, and this goes for any of these features here, you just click on it and it will give you a drop down menu, and you can adjust it either with a slider or actually putting numbers in. So the shadow time, you can adjust the amount of time, and it'll give you an idea how much space that 5 minutes will take up. The quality options I have set up for my shadow record is it's going to take 375 megabytes for a 5-minute clip, if I remember right. So it's not going to take up a massive amount of space, but just enough, and the quality still seems to be okay. You'll have to play with the quality depending on your system if you like it or not. And the quality is done right here. You can adjust your resolution that it records in. You can adjust the frame rate, that sort of thing to fit your style and what kind of recording you need. And of course the audio can be done so it's just simply in-game audio. It can be microphone audio, or you can have it so it doesn't record any of the audio. It's best to, for the server, have your in-game and microphone recording. That way you've got proof of everything that's going on. So and as you can see, my in-game resolution is set at default. I play in 1080p. I've got 60 frames per second. 10 megs is my bit rate and my encoder that I'm using. That is all there is to it. And when you're in game, once it's set up and running, you shouldn't have to do anything except for go into your folder to pull out the video, which you'll set up wherever you choose to have your video recordings go. So that is a quick run over on Shadowplay. Works fairly well. Doesn't seem to be a huge resource hog. And comes in handy when you need that proof that something has gone amiss for the server, because once again, like I said, having proof is a huge necessity. Otherwise it's a he said she said type situation, and you may not get anything to come out of it. So the second option I'm going to say to go with is called OBS. Open broadcast software, and you'll see I've got a bunch of extra things in here. Pay no mind to these scenes because I do live streaming as well, so I have a bunch of extra overlays and everything. But basically, you'll get OBS. All right, I'm back. I had to clip this in really quick as I did forget one thing, and that was the scenes over here. Scenes are what allow you to record whatever you're looking at. So to set up a scene, you right-click in an open space, add scene. We'll just do test real quick. Click OK, and then over here, sources. Right-click in an open space and add, and then here you would add your different types of sources. You could add a window capture, which will capture, let's say you have a browser open as an example. It will record what is inside that browser window only. Monitor capture, if you're running like dual monitors, it'll capture the whichever monitor you choose. Images, image slideshow, you shouldn't have to worry about, so I'm not going to go into detail. Global sources, text, CL, our browser, video capture. I'm not going to go into them as they are a little bit different than what you need, but you would want game capture, and you could just type in like Arma 3, just for the hell of it. And then what you would do is this window would pop open, and up here under select applications you'll have a drop down, and while the game is running you will see the Arma 3 listed. You would pick Arma 3, you would click OK, and then whenever you're recording on this scene, as long as it's got checked, it will record your Arma 3 gameplay. And that is all there is to it, to doing that section. So, all right, back to the video. Open broadcast software. You'll go ahead and download it. And when you're going to go ahead and set it up for local recording, I'm not going to go into live stream style, but you're going to go into settings, and you're going to get your profile. You may have to make a new profile, or it might already be there for local recording. Just go ahead and make a profile, and you can change these out. As you can see, I've got a couple different profiles for what I'm streaming or recording. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go into, no, I do not want to save because I don't want to change it. You're going to go into your different tabs on the left hand side. Encoding, you should leave everything basically default. The only thing I would suggest is your bit rate. Adjust that. I have mine set at 5,000. It still gives a decent quality without taking a huge amount of disk space. And then my codec is AC 48. Bit rate is 128, and stereo for audio. This stuff, it's usually pretty standard. Default is there. Just the bit rate is what you want to adjust, so that way it's not, because OBS does not work like Shadowplay. You have to constantly be recording, so you don't want it to be killing your hard drive space. You can, granted, go through after you're done and delete it, and that is your choice, or you can save the stuff, whatever you prefer. So broadcast settings, again over here, you're going to set mode file output only, and then you're going to pick your path that you want the videos to be saved at. I have it sitting here. What will happen is if you record and you stop, it will not overwrite this. It will simply add a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, etc., etc. to the end of the file name, so it continues having them in there. You can go ahead and set your start stream hotkey, start recording hotkey. Kind of similar. I have it set at F9, and as long as you're in local recording, as I have my profile set up so it's recording just your hard drive, the stream key is perfectly fine because it won't actually stream to the web. It's just going to stream it onto your computer. The video, you can go in, you can set it custom. Me, I run a dual monitor setup, so you want to pick your video card. I have two here. I have a dedicated physics card, and then I also have my SLI set up. So and then I go ahead and I have a downscale resolution of 720. You don't have to have 1080. You can still get pretty good quality for what you're using this for at a 720. And then you can set your FPS to either 60 or 30. Make sure it's one or the other. Don't do some goofy stuff like 42 or something. It can get a little bit derpy on you. No, again. And then, of course, your audio. You go in and you set up what you're actually using for your audio, your speakers and your microphone. That way it can actually catch the audio and whatnot. And you can go in here and you can set up a hotkey for your push to talk, basically, if you don't want an open mic constantly, and then you can adjust that. And you can adjust your desktop boost to boost up your microphone so it's heard a little easier, etc. These aren't really options you're going to have to mess with too much for the reason we're using it. And then the advanced browser, microphone, and server ping, you don't need to mess with any of that really. It's just there. So, and basically when you're recording, you'll see, I'll go ahead and do a preview thing here. My arm is not open, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a different overlay at the moment. But when you hit and you start, you'll see your recording in the screen here. As you can see, going live soon, and my information's there, but you'll see what is actually going on. If you've got a dual monitor, drag it off to your secondary. If you do not, it will just sit in the background. At the bottom here, watch for your dropped frames. It'll tell you your frames per second and the bit rate, and it'll jump pretty close to where you have it set. It'll never go exact, but it'll jump pretty close. Basically, instead of hitting preview, just hit start and stop recording, or your hotkey, whatever you choose. So them are the two ways I suggest recording. There are other software programs out there that can do recordings, but these are free and work fairly well. Another option is Fraps, which there is pretty much no setup for. You download, you install, and you go to town with it by just starting it. Works just as good, but it can be a pretty big resource hog, and the file recordings can be fairly big. So hopefully this clears it up for some people. They can understand how to use the Shadowplay or OBS to record any issues that might be going on, RDM, VDM, people not going by the rules, that sort of thing. Don't go overboard on it, on your player reports, but use this as a tool to help you, assist you when you do have to make reports, so that way the admins can deal with the situation much quicker. When you've got evidence, when you have evidence, it makes things so much easier on the admins, because it's a black and white. Okay, they did this. This is what's going to happen now. So, all right. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, like all that good jazz. If you like this or any of my other videos, I'm going to continue doing some more tutorials for the Olympus server. So. Go ahead, and if you have not hit the server up, definitely check it out. I'll have a link in the description below. Awesome, kick-ass server. So far, it hasn't been up extremely long, but for the amount of time it's been up, it is a badass server, at least in my opinion. So I'm a little biased, but just my thoughts. So thank you. Peace.